back with Dr. Hana Solomon, and we're talking about clearing the air one nose at a time, and that's her new book, which I just absolutely love. Tell me when you started thinking about writing a book, Doc.
I've been writing for years. I wrote for WebMD on alternative to allergies, and I've been writing articles for years, and about, I don't know, 5 years ago I decided maybe it was time to put all of these articles together and sort of seam it up. I have found myself repeating myself so often on radio or TV that it was time to put it together. What's really interesting is that when I do presentations to medical doctors, they don't understand the differences between a wash and a spray. It's very interesting. It's such a simple thing. You mentioned your mom and the steam. One of the taglines that I have in my company is developed by a pediatrician using your mother's wisdom. This whole thing is based on salt water.
That's right. Now, you use distilled water.
Or sterile.
Or
previously boiled tap water that's cooled.
Now, let me ask a question about previously boiled tap water. What, you know, when you boil the tap water and you pour it into a container, and it will be in the refrigerator, it'll be what?
I like to put mine in I used to can.
Okay.
And so I use a canning jar.
Okay.
And I sterilize the canning jar. And I put my boiling water in the canning jar, put the lid on, let it cool, and I keep it at room temperature.
Okay.
You can keep it in the refrigerator.
Right.
But I keep it at room temperature.
I've been buying distilled water in, you know, like a really big jug, and I've been doing it like that, and it just worked out pretty easily because I do it, like I said, every single night. And I've noticed in the last 2 months since I've done it, I haven't had any major sinus infections. I just feel so much better. And it actually, because of all that stuff, your nose gets clogged up and you feel like terrible.
Do you know why that happens? Can I throw out some facts?
Sure,
They're really fun.
Let's talk about that.
10,000 liters of air are passed through our nose each day.
10,000?
Liters. Can you imagine not washing your armpit or your feet? No. We Americans wash every part of our body.
Except our noses.
Except our filter, our external filter.
Right.
We make a pint to a quart of mucus a day. That's actually very protective.
Right.
But it has to be thin so it drains or so we swallow it. And what happens is if we're over 40, our mucus gets thicker because of the hormones. If we're on antihistamines like Benadryl or Zyrtec or Allegra or Claritin, the mucus gets thicker and stickier.
Really?
And if we use certain medications like blood pressure pills, it will thicken it up. So when the mucus thickens up, it basically plugs the pathways for it to drain naturally. And hence, that's why you get sinus pressure, because it's all plugged up. And then when you wash, you're actually releasing the doorway. You're cleaning the doorway so the sinuses now can drain.
So stop taking the Benadryl and just clean the nose.
I'm not going to, you know, you can try it.
You can try it.
And I'm going to suggest if you are still on a medication, you should use the nasal washing twice a day.
Twice a day. Okay.
And then over time, you will see that you can put that on the shelf and keep it for when you have poison ivy itch or something.
Something else.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about little kids. Now, you're a pediatrician, and you recommend this, right, for children that are age 2 and above?
If you can stand and hold a toothbrush, you are neurologically and psychologically able to wash your own nose.
Okay.
Therefore, somebody with a stroke who cannot hold a toothbrush and stand cannot use it. Somebody who has, let's say, cerebral palsy, who doesn't have good control of their airway, they should not use it.
Right.
Everybody else in the world can.
Everybody else in the world can, and that's really, really important to know that. Now, you would suggest, am I correct, if you're a parent, do it first yourself. Okay, let's talk a little bit about that. That's really important. Don't hand it to your kid and say, use it, and you don't use it. That doesn't make too much sense.
You know, we all can remember how we taught our children how to brush teeth. it was first a game, look at mommy, look at daddy, you want to hold the toothbrush, good boy. And then, you know, as each day your child would get better and better, and you wouldn't say, it's not good enough. You would applaud their success, and you would show your spouse, look, Johnny did this, and you slowly walk them through the point of perfection.
Right.
You have to do it yourself, I have found, because a lot of people assume, you want me to squirt that up my nose? A lot of adults assume nasal washing is uncomfortable. And so if a parent is not really sure that it feels good, and the only way to be sure is to do it yourself,
Right.
your kids are telepathic with you.
Right.
They're going to feel that hesitation. They're not going to want to do it.
And you know, I'm the Mikey in my family. It's always, well, let her try it first. And maybe if it's all right with her, we'll try it. And I've been trying to tell people in our family that it really is easy to do, and I do really feel better, you know. And you know, what I've noticed about the neti is that it's really hard to use, whereas this is such a simple situation, and it seals off itself, because what I loved about this bottle was that it opens like that, and it closes when you're done. And I always clean this area.
Good idea.
Because, you know, if you've had a really crummy day out and you're, like you said, the filter is filtering out how much again?
10,000 liters.
10,000 liters. That's a lot.
That's a lot. And one of these packets in 4 ounces will remove 80% of the allergens that
are
you
out
just
there.
breathed in your nose. And you know that this season is one of the worst in decades.
Really? The worst.
Across the board.
Now, you know, a lot of people live in areas where there's a lot of black soot. There's a lot of, I can't even imagine coal miners not using this, or anybody that has to deal in areas where, you know, it's really dirty. What did the...
Or how about gardeners?
Oh my
When
gosh.
I come home in from gardening and I
right.
take my shower,
Right.
the stuff that comes out of the filter is amazing.
Right. It's like your, I think of it as the faucet. And you know, with the filter on the faucet, and you never ever noticed, or I notice all the time, that there's even fungus that gets into a pipe, into the faucet, and you see these black things coming out. Well, it's the same thing, right? When you
Absolutely, you're
are
right.
in an area where there's a lot of soot, a lot of air pollution, a lot of whatever, you may not be able to see it, but it's going up there.
Right.
Right. So,
And for those who have asthma or COPD, or those who use a CPAP machine, if you don't clean the nose, your asthma will be worse. You can't use a CPAP machine. You know what a CPAP machine is for snoring.
Right.
You can't put that on and sleep well if you can't breathe through your nose.
Wow.
They're all made to, you're supposed to breathe through your nose. So a good washing before a CPAP machine will allow you to actually sleep deeper, more restfully with the aid of the CPAP.
Right.
And a lot of people complain when they wake up, the CPAP causes dryness in the nasal membranes.
Okay. We're going to talk about a little bit more about that when we come back. Would you give your website out again, please?
Nasopure.com, www.nasopure.com.
And there's a lot of information up there as well, Doc, right? We'll be right back on Born Before 64 with Dr. Hana.